And welcome back. Now, two interviews to squeeze into this half hour. So let's start with SAA. South African Airways business rescue practitioners have set the record straight, saying at this stage, the national carrier will not take to the skies during level 3 of the lockdown. Now, the airline released a statement earlier this week saying that some flights would resume in mid-June. SAA was placed under business rescue in December last year. And joining us now is Joachim Vermooten, who is an aviation economist, to talk to us about these latest developments. Joachim, thanks for your time this morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
And good morning to your viewers.
So first off, we're seeing what seems to be conflicting statements coming out of SAA and their business rescue practitioners. What does that say about what is actually going on here at the moment, and also the level of communication between the two parties?
Well, the announcement from SAA dealt with two matters. The first one was that they would cancel the flights for international and regional routes. And the second one was that they would restart the domestic routes. The first one was necessary in order to clear out the booking system. A number of people were still booked for flights that were not going to take place. The second one was more controversial in that they said that they would like to become operationally capable for the resumption of the Cape Town Johannesburg flights. Now, the practical thing is that there is no money. All the repatriation funds were paid by special charters, but there is no money to continue normal business activities. And at that level, the business rescue practitioners stopped the whole thing because the business rescue practitioners have put two alternatives to the table. The one is a down of the company, and the second one is a liquidation of the company. There are all kinds of other ideas to start up a new airline, etc. But that's not so easy because it's not normal times. We're busy with a total ban on flight operations. So if you want to start up operations now, you still have to pay the cost to get you until civil aviation can really restart. In my assessment, it's not possible for normal commercial activities to commence because under stage 3, there are many restrictions which are carried over up to stage 2. And those are that the airline is only limited to business traffic. Now, you can just imagine standing in line to board an aircraft and suddenly you're reclassified as a non-business traveller. So I would think that the only possibility for civil aviation at the stage 3 level, depending on the airport authorities' rulings, is really smaller business aircraft, company and charter aircraft, and non-scheduled type of aircraft that are exclusively used for business purposes. In my assessment, it would only be when all the COVID-19 levels are abolished that large-scale civil aviation can commence because the aircraft are generally 180 seaters and above. So I do not see any possibility for the civil aviation large-scale aircraft to actually start to operate under COVID level 3.
Now,
one has to remember that certainly.
On that point, SAA, of course, the reality is that they have already released this statement on Monday, and that has created certain expectations, surely, amongst consumers and their employees. So how do they now deal with this in terms of the reputational damage that this would cause already to an already damaged reputation?
Well, the business rescue practitioners issued a statement the day thereafter, and one has to remember the business rescue practitioners are really legally in charge of the company. There's nobody else, and so their views would be determinable.
And then speaking of the business rescue practitioners, and they, of course, have said they can't submit a business rescue plan. So what does that mean? How are we supposed to assess, what SAA is capable of when they would be able to take to the skies, if any time at all soon?
Well, the business rescue practitioners have to submit a business rescue plan or put the company in liquidation. That's my understanding. They have produced all kinds of drafts previously, but they did not bring it forward to a vote by the various stakeholders. So that needs to be done. They have promised the SCOPA, the Oversight Committee in Parliament, that they would produce a business plan by this weekend. I think it also is affected by the government's views expressed by the Minister on how large the scale of resuscitation should be. One can certainly operate a much smaller operation with less money, but the question of whether money will be provided for any scale of resuscitation remains to be seen.
Now, Joachim, as an aviation economist, in your view, what do you think can be done to aid SAA and contribute to its survival at this stage?
Well, the practicalities is that it can't remain as it is. One can't resuscitate it in its current form. So it has to emerge looking different from what it used to be before. And in my assessment, that could mean a few international flights and the disposal of all the other activities, the technical division, Mango, the airships, in order to generate some funds to be able to A, assist with salary payments, and B, provide some capital for a resuscitation of the airline, although it will be a smaller thing. One has to remember that those government airlines that are successful today are predominantly international long-haul operations. Then your focus is very clear on what you have to do, and it's much better to control it and develop expertise in it.
Well, we have to leave it there, unfortunately, for today. But thanks so much for your time, Joachim Vermooten, aviation economist, talking to us about the current situation facing the national carrier, South African Airways. And as you heard him say, not viable, this plan to start operations under lockdown level 3. So you're always welcome to opine on these interviews that we bring your way. #MorningLive and our handle @MorningLive SABC is where you can send us your views. All right, we're going to take a